Have you ever felt smaller because of someone else's words? Have you ever been fine one moment and then one cruel sentence stayed in your head all day, all night, and even longer? Words can do that. They can cling to the mind like thorns. Quiet at first, then painful, then powerful. They make you question your talent, your value, your place in the world. But here is the truth. Other people's words can wound you. They do not define you. Today's story is about a potter named Mara and how one harsh opinion almost stole the joy from her hands. Stay with this story, because by the end you will have a simple morning practice that can change the way you see yourself. Mara lived in a quiet village where mornings smelled like wet earth and warm smoke. She was a potter. She worked in silence, with clay, with water, with patience. Each day, she sat beside her wheel and shaped useful things into simple beauty. Bowls, pitchers, water jars, storage vessels. Some were elegant, some were strong, some were plain but deeply honest. Mara loved them all because she knew what lived inside each piece: time, care, attention, a quiet kind of devotion. One morning, she finished a jar that looked too simple to impress most people. No painted flowers, no bright glaze, no decoration at all, just smooth clay, a wide mouth, a strong neck, a steady base. She touched the rim and smiled. It was not flashy, but it was good. It was the kind of jar that could serve a family for years. She placed it on the shelf and whispered, "You will serve someone well." And in that moment, she felt proud of its simplicity. That afternoon, a wealthy trader entered her workshop. His clothes were expensive. His face was sharp. He looked around as if everything there was beneath him. Then he stopped in front of the simple jar. "How much for this one?" he asked. Mara gave him a fair price. The trader laughed. "For this is ordinary. There is no beauty in it, no imagination. I have seen children make pieces with more charm than this." The room went still. Mara felt her chest tighten. The jar that had seemed honest and useful that very morning now looked weak under his gaze. The trader shrugged and walked away. But his words did not leave with him. They stayed, like smoke, like poison, like a thorn under the skin. That night, Mara could not stop looking at the jar. At first, she only stared. Then she began seeing faults everywhere. The shape was too quiet. The curve was too plain. The surface was too simple. Soon she was no longer seeing the jar itself. She was seeing it through his contempt. And that changed everything. The next morning, her hands trembled at the wheel. She pressed too hard, then too softly. A bowl collapsed inward. A cup bent off-center. A fresh jar cracked at the neck. For the first time in years, Mara doubted the hands that had guided her through so many seasons. Days passed. Her confidence thinned. She stopped enjoying the sound of the wheel. She even thought about hiding the simple jar in the darkest corner of the workshop, not because it had changed, but because she had let one passing voice become a judge over her calling. A few evenings later, an old woman entered the workshop. Her name was Sarah. She walked slowly with a cane, but her eyes were clear. She went directly to the shelf where the plain jar sat. Then she lifted it with both hands as if it mattered. She felt the weight, touched the rim, turned it toward the light. Then she smiled. "This is exactly what I need," she said. Mara blinked. "This one?" Sarah nodded. "It is balanced. It is strong. It was made by someone who cared more about truth than decoration." Mara hesitated. A man said it had no beauty. Sarah looked at her for a long moment. Then she placed the jar between them and asked quietly, "Did his words change the clay? Did they weaken the base? Did they erase the patience in your hands?" Mara lowered her eyes, because she knew the answer. No. Sarah smiled gently. Then understand this. Some people speak from wisdom. Some speak from emptiness. What they see often says more about them than about you. Then Sarah reached into her bag and pulled out a small wooden mirror. It was old. The frame was worn, but the glass was clear. When someone wounds you with words, she said, "Look here." Not to admire your face, to remember your truth. Cruel words reveal the speaker. They do not reveal your essence. Mara looked into the mirror. She saw tired eyes, clay beneath her nails, calluses on her fingers, a face shaped by quiet work and faithfulness. And suddenly, memory returned. The bowls she had made that fed families, the pitchers that carried water, the jars that stored grain through winter. Her work mattered. It had always mattered. Why had she given one arrogant stranger the power to silence years of honest labor? That night, she placed the mirror near her wheel, not as decoration, as a reminder. The next morning, Mara returned to the wheel. The doubt was not gone, but something deeper had returned. Perspective. She touched the clay with steadier hands. The wheel turned. Her breathing slowed, and form began to appear again. Not for approval, not for applause, not to prove the trader wrong, but because this was her work, her craft, her offering. Weeks later, the trader returned. This time, his tone had changed. He had heard that Mara's pottery lasted longer than any other in the region. He wanted a large order. He praised her work, smiled warmly, spoke with respect. But Mara only listened with calm eyes, because now his praise meant no more than his insult. She no longer needed his approval to know her value. That is the lesson. If you build your identity on other people's opinions, you will rise and fall with every passing voice. But when your value is rooted in truth, in effort, in character, in the quiet knowledge of who you are, other people's words lose their power. They may still touch you, but they cannot define you. So here is the 10-second practice. Tomorrow morning, stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes and say one true sentence about yourself that no stranger can take away. I work with honesty. I have a kind heart. I am disciplined. I am growing. Keep it simple. Keep it real. Do it for 10 mornings.